What's up, guys? It's Elijah. Today I'm here and I'm going to be discussing the Warriors offseason and free agency that they've had so far. You might be asking, why are you talking about Warriors free agency when they are one of the two teams, along with the Indiana Pacers, that haven't made one move through the first 4 days of free agency? And I'm here to explain to you why. The Warriors are over the first apron and are over the luxury tax line, meaning they have only the taxpayer mid-level exception to spend throughout this free agency, other than minimum contracts. This is approximately $5.7 million to spend throughout free agency, and which they had since day one. Just because we haven't made a move yet does not mean we haven't been aggressive, does not mean Mike Dunleavy Jr. hasn't been aggressive in the market. It just means that because of our salary cap, we haven't had much flexibility to go after the players that we would like to and to sign the players that we wanted to. For example, earlier in free agency, first day of free agency, we offered Al Horford our $5.7 million mid-level exception, meaning we have been aggressive and we have been going after centers to help upgrade our roster and to help upgrade that center position that we desperately need. That does not mean because we haven't made a move yet, we haven't been aggressive. Al Horford just hasn't made up his mind yet, hasn't made his decision where he wants to go. After reports have said, after Lakers have just re-signed Jackson Hayes to be their backup center, Al Horford's two main options are going to the Golden State Warriors using that $5.7 million that we offered him on for the first day, or just retiring because of his age. And because he hasn't made the decision yet, it's been 4 days that we haven't made a move, and it could be even up to a week that we don't make a move, because it's all up to Al Horford's decision. But for example, earlier in free agency, Brook Lopez signed a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Los Angeles Clippers. This is $9 million a year, while we only had $5.7 million to spend on him. That doesn't mean we didn't offer Brook Lopez a contract. And that doesn't mean we didn't look at at DeAndre Ayton when he got waived by the Portland Trail Blazers. DeAndre Ayton got signed to the Lakers for $8.3 million a year. That is much more than what we could have offered him. And unless you really love to be on the Warriors and you think that your fit would be much better on the Warriors than on the Clippers or the Lakers, you're taking that more money and you're signing to that team that offered you the more money. And that's what Brook Lopez and DeAndre Ayton and most of the other free agents did. Earlier before free agency, Mike Dunleavy Jr. stated that he wants to be aggressive in the free agent market to look for an upgrade at center, or a defensive wing that can play make. And in my opinion, the best wings that were in free agency that could do that fit that category, were Karis LeVert and maybe Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But the contracts that they signed were much larger than the $5.7 million that we could have offered. So that does not mean we haven't been aggressive. That doesn't mean we haven't been looking at each free agent and seeing what we need to help our roster and to even offer them contracts. Because we've been looking at players, even Damian Lillard, who just got waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. We reached out to him right then and there, and we might be able to still acquire Damian Lillard using a minimum contract if Al Horford decides to sign to the $5.7 million mid-level exception that we have offered him. But it's all up to Al Horford's decision, which it has been taking so long, meaning we haven't made a deal within 4 days. If Al Horford accepted our mid-level exception on day one, when we offered it to him, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, because we wouldn't be talking about this right now, because the Warriors would have had their big move. The Warriors would have gotten an upgrade at center, and Mike Dunleavy Jr. would have looked great. But since Al Horford hasn't made a decision, we haven't been able to make a move yet. And just because Al Horford doesn't make a decision, you might think go after someone else. Like I've stated, our $5.7 million has given us not enough flexibility to go after players that we want to acquire, which is why it's taken so long for us to make a deal, and might take even a couple more days. Now, as for the Jonathan Kuminga situation, he is a young rising star that we value a ton, but he doesn't fit well with the roster that we have right now. And as you can see on the court, he doesn't fit well with players like Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. But obviously, we would not want Jonathan Kuminga to leave our team for nothing, and we want value out of him. So we have been exploring sign and trade scenarios every single day of free agency. It's just not easy because he is a restricted free agent, and he wants $30 million a year, which the Warriors simply can't offer him. And neither can any other team in free agency. But as for the teams that are interested in Jonathan Kuminga, the Warriors have, as reported, have been talking to them about signing and trading Kuminga to help Kuminga get where he wants on the different team and have the ability to become an all-star this year. The Sacramento Kings have been one of the teams that have been interested and have offered us a real offer, which was Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and 2 unprotected second-round picks that the Warriors declined because they didn't feel like that was enough value for Jonathan Kuminga, which I totally agree. But because Jonathan Kuminga wants a lot of money and sees himself as a high-valued prospect, which we do as well, it's going to take time. As he is a restricted free agent, it's going to take time for us to find him a new team. And there still is a great chance Kuminga could re-sign with the Warriors and stay on the team long-term, or we can move him at the deadline next year. But it's going to take some time for us to find a decision on what to do with Jonathan Kuminga because we want to get the most value that we can out of him. And that is a decision that the office and Mike Dunleavy Jr. needs to make, but it won't take a short amount of time. It will linger, and it will be a decision that has to be made with deep thought. So because the Warriors haven't made a deal within the first 4 days of free agency does not mean we haven't been aggressive, does not mean we haven't been talking with Kuminga and many other teams to find Kuminga a destination. That doesn't mean we haven't been talking and pursuing Al Horford in free agency. That doesn't mean we didn't offer the other big names earlier during free agency. That doesn't mean we didn't offer them a contract. It's just because of our money, we don't have a lot of flexibility, resulting in not a lot of players wanting to sign with us on that $5.7 million, except for a cheap, decent big man like Al Horford, who we have been waiting on his decision for a couple days now, which is why the Warriors haven't made a deal yet. But all we can do now is be patient, trust in the Warriors front office, trust in Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Joe Lacob, and hope they make the best moves and trust in their moves to help booster our roster and upgrade the roster and the center position to help us make a championship team for the years to come and next year's.